Okay, I think we might be back. Oh man, the quality of that is like potato. Just a moment. Just a moment. Like, this is like, oh, there we go. It's cleared up now. Sorry about that. So, where were we? We were speaking about the subspecies of the Scylla, if I recall correctly. Okay. What's going on? Oh my word. There we go. Okay. So, sorry about that, folks. We are back now. Hello! And today we are discussing... Now let's get back to what we were discussing originally. The creature, the Scylla subspecies known as Kraken. Basically, they can produce a Kraken ink, which is used you can eat it, although why you would is a mystery to me. It can be used as an ingredient for magical items. It can be used as lamp oil. And just the opposite as an ordinary lamp, they produce darkness in the area illuminated. This can also cause a sort of pseudo-night, which is pretty cool, honestly. Pretty cool. There we go. Okay. We are doing much better now. Just a moment. Okay, folks. Okay, loved the pun. Loved the pun going on right there. So, now so aside from the Kraken, there is one other sort of... Now, the Kraken, as we all know, is based off of the mythological giant farking squid. That's basically it, folks. I don't know what else you were expecting. Now, up next is a creature that I'm more familiar with in its non-monsterized form. And we're going to get to see that today. This is not going to go well. So, up next is the Mind Flayer. These girls are not local. These girls are members of the Scylla family, mollusk types that are not aquatic. They live underground and specialize in mind control. They can attack both males and females. Basically just nope. Basically just mind flayers are kind of all of the no. They will they're based off of the Dungeons and Dragons monster called the Illithid, which is more commonly known as a Mind Flayer, hence the name. The Mind Flayers are actually, basically they're octopus-headed humanoid nightmare fuels. Yeah, these chicks are basically just everything nightmares are made of and more. So so what the Mind Flayers basically do is if they... Basically, if they're a single mind flayer and they capture a guy, or they get their hands on a guy, basically they get their brains turned into, like, gelatinous goo by the, mind flayer, and it's just, like, ugh. It's just one of those things that is a little nauseating, but at the same time, like, bleh. Arguably, so if their prey is female, it is said that they won't immediately be turned into they won't get immediately transformed into a monster. What will occur, however, is that, they will be very, very slowly corrupted, basically. They'll, get inside the brain and just cause all sorts of bleh. Just no. All of my no. Great advancements in mental health, or make everything worse. Yeah, the make everything worse part is probably what we're most likely to see, not gonna lie. Basically, what the Mind Flayer will do to a human female they find is they'll give them a monster's mind and drives, but a human body. Despite being released, they'll typically make their way to the monster of their own accord. Yada yada yada. Basically, what you're seeing on the screen right now. It's a little nauseating, not a fun time. Sorry about that, my mouse decided to spaz for some reason. Basically, these girls are... They are based off of the, monsters in Dungeons & Dragons known as the Illithids. The Illithids will actually capture humans and either turn them into mindless thralls or straight up eat their brain. Because they, live off of brains. They don't look like this, though. They look like freakish octopus-headed monstrosities. It's not a fun time for anybody when the Illithids come to party. So, that's the Scylla family in a nutshell, I guess. I don't really know what else to say. Yeah, ew. Ew is the best response I can give, sweetheart. Just, bleh. So, I know you guys, when I was talking to my Discord about what they wanted to do with this discussion, they mentioned going to go visit some monster girls inspired by the Monster Hunter games, which is what I predominantly stream on this channel. And I, for one, don't see why not. So, first, let's go find one into the forums. Oh, here we go. Scrolling down. Fan-made monsters. And, ooh, a new one based on the Diablos. Now, Diablos in the Monster Hunter games is the apex of whatever desert region it inhabits. They tend to, they have, their anatomy is very Triceratops-ish. If you, okay, just a sec. Google images, Monster Hunter World Diablos. Images. Yeah. This is what a non-Monster Girl Diablos looks like. It's big, it's scary, and it's here to ruin your day. On the other hand, the Dia, as the user of the Reptile King calls it, while they are a very fearsome desert-dwelling wyvern, easily identifiable by the frills and horns. The frill grows out over the back of the head, protecting the neck, 2 twisting horns, jutting forward for a primary weapon, hammer-like club, tend to be large and heavily muscled with thick scales. Like all dragons, they can revert to a primal form from before the age of the Demon Lord, which is fun, but also terrifying. So they are unique among dragons, being that they're herbivores. They primarily live off of cactus. That's right. They eat cactus. Yeah, they eat cactus predominantly. Non-carnivorous. As desert dwellers, this should not be mistaken for them being meek, though, despite their herbivorous lifestyle. As desert dwellers, they have a limited supply of food and water, and are thus fiercely territorial towards their own kind, or anything vaguely similar to them in terms of power, and will not tolerate the presence of a predator at all. They are pretty short-tempered and ferociously stubborn. They refuse to back down to anything unless they are soundly beaten. Unlike most wyverns, in addition to their herbivorous diet, they are very poor flyers and almost never take to the skies. They're often mistaken to be flightless by those inexperienced with them. They'll only fly when they have no other option, and many view it as a sort of weakness or cowardice. Instead, they prefer to travel by burrowing, which they can do with surprising speed. Anyone who's wrestled with a Monster Hunter World Diablos knows how nasty a burrowing Diablos can get. So much pain. Given how slow and clumsy they are in the air, it's more efficient for them to tunnel to wherever they want to be than for them to try to fly. During the day, they spend most of their time underground, either resting or patrolling their massive territories, only coming up when disturbed or to settle territorial disputes with other powerful desert dwellers. At night, they come out to feed on cactus, which is their favorite. For this species, territorial duels are frequent, and they'll never back down from anything, even against overwhelming foes. The only thing that will make them hide is an elder dragon. They have no magical ability, no ranged attacks, no elemental tomfoolery, but they make up for this with incredible power. They are typically stronger, faster, and tougher than anything else they'll meet. This allows them to use their horns and tail hammer to devastating effect. Their primary tactic is simple: lower the head and charge. Their massive horns make short work of anything caught in their path. However, should this not work, they will fight more tactically, tunneling and attacking from below or even from out of the walls or ceiling if the fight's taking place underground. They also have a deafening roar. Like, anybody who's ever played Monster Hunter or Monster Hunter World knows how piercing a Diablos roar can be. Like, it is just a nightmare. Sorry about that, guy. Due to YouTube's chat streamings, some of the, some messaging comments will be, sort of hidden until I approve them. But basically, they will, some of them even learned how to launch giant boulders into the air as they burrow, letting these boulders bludgeon or crush their foes. Ironically, their greatest strength is also their greatest weakness. When provoked into a blind rage, it isn't hard to get them to charge into something. It isn't unheard of for one of these to accidentally get their horns stuck in a large rock or cliffside after a poorly thought out charge. While underground, they rely on their hearing to navigate, which leaves them vulnerable to sonic attacks. A loud enough noise can cause one of these creatures to panic and try to surface, only to get stuck halfway out of the ground. For a monster hunter Diablos, this is a good time to get some free walloping in. Unlike most monster girls, the monster girlified Diablos count humans, be they man or woman, on their list of threats to squish. Thus, even approaching an unwed Diablos monster girl can be considered a fool's errand. However, they periodically go into season. During this time, their body is filled with intense hormones, causing them to turn black. These hormones harden their armor even further and cause them to become stronger, even stronger and faster than before. It also makes them very pent up, so much so that they are in a constant state of frustration in which they will charge anything that moves. Basically until the anybody who's fought a Monster Hunter World Black Diablos knows they are way more aggressive than the usual Diablos, and they'll even fight regular Diablos and win. I think I got footage of that in one of my streams once. It was something else. Basically, should a Black Diablos monster girl encounter a man in season, they will charge, although with different intentions than squishing. They'll drag them home and make them their husband. That's all I'm going to say about that. Once wed, a mammonized Diablos will mellow out significantly, especially if their husband brings them to live in town, where their need to maintain a territory is significantly lower. They still remain kinda short-tempered and stubborn, but will tolerate others living with them. They are really quick to bring their horns to bear of any slight against their husband, either as a very, very thinly veiled threat, or to outright attack the person. One of these girls lowering her head is often a deadly threat. Her husband is also capable of inciting the Black Diablos state early if he tries hard enough. Losing a fight for one of these girls is not uncommon. Such is life for somebody who fights so much. However, to lose a horn is very traumatic because the horns are a symbol of their power, I've been told. And many will be able to recover from this and simply regrow the damaged horn. However, on very rare occasions, usually when both the horns have been broken and the tail has been removed as well, the trauma will cause this animal to undergo a metamorphosis, becoming a deviant. They will grow larger, stronger, faster, and tougher than the usual, the broken horn growing back in deformed, never growing back to its full length and branching out in ways it really shouldn't, while the other horn will become much larger and much thicker. Her body temperature increases exponentially, causing, when she enters her enraged parts of her body, to glow from the heat and steam to burst forth. The loss of both the battle and her horn leaves these girls, with a broken pride and immense anger. They will fight anything and everything, taking out their anger and trauma on the world, earning them the title of Bloodbath. Some have said that only true love can heal them and sort of quiet their endless rage, but it's a rare man who is willing to try. I'm just gonna say that right now. Oh dear. Have fun with that. So, are there any other Monster Hunter World monsters you'd like to look at? I mean, I am more than willing to show you guys some of these. I didn't make these. The wiki user, the Reptile King, did, and he did a really good job with the and here we found and basically he's made a lot of Monster Hunter monsters into monster girls. And I'm sorry, I am sorry, I'm looking for the sort of species list. It's in here somewhere. Oh, here we go. Put a link to it in this popularity poll. Reptile Kingdom. Almost. Those are ones based on dinosaurs and other ancient reptiles. And here are ones based off of Monster Hunter. So, what would you guys like to look at? Feel free to tell me. Just that. How about looking Hunter? But I like the. How about looking at Mammoth that resemble these monsters? Okay. So, what monsters would you guys like to see? So, we have the Tig. For wyvern subspecies, we have Tig and Narga. Looking at these in honor of the Iceborne beta, the Tig. Okay, so Tig. Let's just wait for this to load. Let's wait for it to load all the way. So Tigs are members of the so the Tig is based off of the Monster Hunter animal, the Tigrex, which I can only describe as an anger management problem on legs. This thing right here. It's basically an anger management problem on legs, less so than Devil Joe. We'll look at both the Tig and the Narga, you guys. How about that? So, the Tig, it's a subspecies of wyvern known for being incredibly wild and violent. They're easily identifiable by orange-yellow scales and blue stripes, making them very reminiscent of the canon monster girl, the Jinko, which is basically a tiger girl. Unlike other wyverns, their wings are heavily muscled with large, sharp claws that can easily grip the ground or shred unwitting prey. These wyverns can't fly. We never see them fly. They don't have a fly animation. They prefer the ground. Thank you. Bye. Their legs are just as powerfully built as their wings to propel them across the ground, and their large tail allows them for balance or to smack their enemies. Their horns are pretty small and seem to be more a display item than anything else. They're very often very sort of trim and athletic, allows them to move fast and hit hard. When they enter their enraged state, the skin on their claws and below their eyes becomes flushed with blood. Like all members of the dragon family and all creatures from the reptile kingdom, they have the ability to revert back to their primal form from before the current demon lord. Unlike most wyverns, Tigrexes are really poor flyers. They have trouble taking off and landing, often choosing to use all four limbs to hurl themselves through the air, instead of actually taking flight, and simply closing their wings and falling out of the sky instead of trying to land normally. Once in the air, they're slow and cumbersome compared to other wyverns. However, their stamina is without comparison. They can fly for hundreds of miles without rest, and do so frequently, traveling from place to place to sate their wanderlust and find prey. On the ground, the Tig is much more comfortable, capable of moving at incredible speed and agility to eat anything in sight. When on a hunt or in a fight, they'll drop on all fours to stalk their prey and to charge with reckless abandon. The claws on their wings are their primary weapons, which they use to pin their prey and basically rip it apart. They are known for being very violent and aggressive. They enjoy hunting and fighting more than basically anything else. They often have so much fun with their hunts and they lose track and kill far more than they need to, which honestly is a pretty common predator behavior. Often finding dozens of corpses from large prey animals is a sign one of these girls has moved in. Similarly, when they see other monster girls or a human who looks like they can fight, they will basically charge them and go, "Fight me!" The idea that the other person may not want to fight, or that others don't have fun fighting, never really comes into their head. They're also very easily angered, and when angered, they tend to go into a berserker rage and rampage across the area, violently lashing out at whatever catches their attention without a whole heck of a lot of a thought. Unlike other members of the dragon family, they have very little ability in terms of magic. They have no elemental powers or magical spells at their disposal. Instead, they prefer just straight up charging their opponents, slamming into them with their entire body, and overwhelming them with their claws. They quite literally throw themselves into a fight. Despite their rather direct methods, they are not without skill. When they miss their charge, they'll sink their claws into the ground and slide so they can turn around and charge again without losing any momentum. I had this happen to me in the episode where I played the Iceborne beta. It's terrifying. They can use their voice as a weapon, roaring with enough force to strike down foes with a concussive blast at short range. Particularly skilled ones can even turn this roar into a beam attack of sorts. This is the only ranged ability they have, aside from hurling large objects at their opponent. So they prefer to attack up close or just straight up trampling people. They have a very wild temperament. Social rules don't really come to mind. They have no sense of real modesty and are very honest with their feelings. When they're hungry, they eat. When they want something, they take it. They care very little about their appearance and see personal hygiene as basically necessary maintenance. When they see a man they like, they are very blunt about it. Once they are married, they are very affectionate towards their husbands. They tend to... Okay, just a moment. My mouse is kind of spazzing. A married monsterized Tigrex is very affectionate to her husband. They stay near them whenever possible, and will give all manner of affection regardless of the situation, ranging from rubbing up against them to a full-out make-out in public without much of a second thought. The only reason it isn't commonplace to see them going all the way in public is solely because their husband usually goes, no, let's save that in private. Modesty and shame are foreign concepts to them. Just the same, they want to make their husband happy and are willing to do just about anything to make them happy. Despite their uncivilized manner and poor flying skills, they are prized in the Reptile Kingdom's branch of the Dragoons for their strong fighting ability on the ground and their tireless stamina while flying. It should be noted that there are two subspecies. The black-scaled brute tig, who frequently travels to volcanoes. Brutes are notoriously stronger and even wilder and more ferocious than their regular counterparts. Most dangerous is that their roar is far stronger with a greater range. it can incapacitate even the strongest warrior with a single blow if he's unprepared. Which is kinda something. Yes. Earplugs. Lots and lots of earplugs. Because they can, generally, and I'm perfectly chill with that. The exceedingly rare crimson-scaled molten species has been seen dwelling in tower ruins where many other rare and powerful beasts live. They are even larger than most tigrex, with a powerful roar to match. Their scales are hardened to the point where most attacks just bounce off, and they can make blast powder. And it will detonate if you hit it hard enough or if it's stuck to a surface for too long. And sorry about the quiet folks there for a second. Now let's get into the deviant. The Grimclaw Tig. Should be noted that a rare mutation can occur in any of these three types, causing a unique individual known as a Grimclaw. Grimclaws can be identified by the fact that their claws are unusually large for their size. Their entire forearm is the color of their stripes, blue for normals, ashen gray for brutes, and black for moltens. Grimclaws are far stronger than the norm, and a Grimclaw baseline Tig is just as strong as a molten subspecies or dragon. Grimclaw brutes and Grimclaw moltens are even stronger and more fearsome. On top of that, they are also capable of manipulating magical energy. They rarely become adept enough to do more than blow things up with it, but they can generate enough power to cause a great deal of damage. A favorite trick they will use is to shove their claw into the ground and generate multiple energy bombs underground to blow up around them. Despite being stronger, there is little psychological difference between a Grimclaw variant and a normal Tig, aside from perhaps a little bit more arrogance aside from the increased power. So, now that we've talked about the tigrex, I believe there was also a request to speak of the Nargas, which I am more than happy to do. I like them. They're pretty cool. So, Nargacuga, the Narga girls, are a unique subspecies of wyvern. They kinda have fur? Well, some of their scales have evolved into long strands, kinda like fur. And they often have a cat-like air about them. They're easily identifiable, but you rarely see them, due to the jet black color of their kinda fur and scales. Instead of horns, they have a pair of ears similar to a werecat's, only more swept back. They often wear a hard mask that covers their mouth and nose. This can be taken off. Like other wyverns, they have clawed wings in the place of hands, but their claws are developed into a paw-like form with small but very sharp claws. Basically, they kind of have hands. The wing itself has evolved into one of this creature's primary weapons, as the scales on it have evolved to form a single razor-sharp cutting edge, which they use to cut down their targets, which is basically whatever they're trying to eat that day. Their tail has also become a powerful weapon as it's grown into a long, thick lash, able to reach all the way around and strike opponents in front of them with ease. At the same time, their scales on this tail have hardened and become sharp. Anybody who's basically Narga has slunk into the beta really sneakily, and some people have tussled with it, and my word, it is something else. These scales can stand on end and be flung like throwing knives. They're pretty lithe and move with a cat-like grace. When angered, their eyes glow red, often leaving trails behind as they move, and I'm just going to call it fur, and tail spikes stand on end. They can also take a primal form like anything in the dragon family. They prefer to live in deep forest and canopies where they are in eternal shadow. They use these shadows to their advantage to move about undetected. Even if they are spotted, they are extremely fast and agile, capable of leaving most of their foes disoriented and easily escaping line of sight. They prefer hunting and fighting as efficiently as possible, finishing their opponents quickly. They can appear in towns and cities where they sell their skills as assassins, spies, thieves, or to counter those previous three. Often battles between Nargas working for rival employers can occur across the skies and rooftops of Reptile Kingdom cities without anyone beneath ever realizing what is happening. Nargas also have a tendency to dress in a manner similar to that of the Kunoichi succubus subspecies, although they rarely carry any tools beyond some smoke bombs or wire, as their own natural armaments easily take place of such tools. Because of this, they are often called Dragon Kunoichi or Reptile Kingdom Kunoichi. Despite their speed and skills, they are not without weakness. They have sensitive eyes and ears due to spending most of their time in shadows and darkness. Thus, a very bright flash of light, like from a flash pod or anything like that, can often blind them for a period of time, and sufficiently loud noises are very painful. They also hate to be surprised or snuck up on. If a person sneaks up on them, they will sulk for days and be very angry. If the surprise is combined with a loud noise, they will fly into a frenzied rage, which they'll often use their claws and wing blades to slice up whatever startled them. They tend to behave in a very aloof manner, sort of shunning social contact. They rarely speak, aside from doing business. However, like all monster girls, they want love. When they find a man they're interested in, they won't directly approach. Instead, they'll just watch him constantly, analyzing him to decide whether or not he's suitable and to find his likes and dislikes. During this time period, any interaction with him in public will end with him being treated like anyone else. She will treat him as if he isn't worth her time and avoid interacting with him altogether. Despite this, the longer they spend observing the man, the more devoted and protective they will become. Should he be in financial trouble, start finding gifts of money on the doorstep, there's housework that they can't get done, he'll come home one day to find it just done. If he has trouble with people bullying him, he'll soon find them too terrified to come near him and unwilling to speak of why. Should he be in danger, they will do whatever it takes to rescue them. Should a man decide to investigate what the frick is going on with his life, he will be unable to find anything, as this woman should be easily able to avoid him. However, if he does manage to sneak up on her or catch her spying on him, she'll be very surprised, unable to know what to do, and yada yada yada. They're very poor at showing their emotions to others due to their tendency to avoid social contact, and they know it. Despite this, they do very deeply care about their new husbands. Often this includes helping him do for himself, help him keep jobs and duties in order, and advise him when he's about to make a poor decision. Sometimes they'll work hard at keeping him safe and doing whatever work needs to be done, using her own skills to provide. While similar to the Kunoichi, the Narga cares very little about honor. Her morality is more focused on loyalty, so she is not honor-bound to serve a man who saves her. However, any man who goes out of their way to help her is bound to get her interest. Dragoons who ride Nargas into battle often practice the ninja arts, or at least practice stealth so as not to blow his wife's cover. They belong to a special subset and have special rank. There are several variations of Narga in existence. The green Nargas which as the name suggests are, well, green. They stay in the forests and jungles, but are more active during the day. The spikes on the tail have a potent paralytic, which they use to immobilize their prey, and they are notably stronger than normal Nargacuga. Yep, that's basically why the birthday ended like it did. Oh yeah, I can choose. So there's still some subspecies and deviants to go over. The lucent Narga is an extremely rare subspecies that dwells in the tower ruins. They're even stronger than the greens and are as dangerous as dragons. Lucents look similar to a normal Nargacuga, however their wing blades are very slightly blue, and their pseudo-fur has a goldish tint. This is rarely seen as they are completely as like other Nargas, they're very elusive. Not only this, but they have the ability to go completely invisible, save for the glow of their eyes when they're enraged. The spikes are also poisonous, because why not? There is and then there's the deviants. It's also a rare mutation that can occur in all types, cause a deviant called the Silverwind. A Silverwind is easily identifiable by the white stripes, and they have the ability to manipulate the wind. They are far stronger than the non-mutated variants, with the normal Silverwind being able to match a Lucent Narga or Dragon in battle, the green Silverwinds being stronger than them, and the Lucent Silverwinds being more fearsome and rare than all the others. So yeah, those girls are scary. Very, very scary. So for the next ones, I've always been partial to the Mizutsune, so let's have a look at the monsterized version. They are a type of drake commonly found in damp forests and jungles, particularly fond of the Japanese Zipangu-inese, basically fantasy Japan, culture, and tend to live in the misty peaks and in and around Yukumo. They're easily identifiable by their white scales and purple pseudo-fur on their bodies. They are adorned with yellow fins that give the impression of flower petals, and their ears grow out into similar fins, giving it the appearance of fox ears. They have a long tail with large puffs of pseudo-fur, giving it a fox appearance, the appearance of a foxtail. When angered, their fins will flush an angry red color. When tired, they'll fade into a dull blue. And when, excited, the fins will become a soft pink. Due to their overall elegance and fox-like appearance, they're often called the Inari of the reptile kingdom. And they can take a primal form like just about anything else. Mizu are generally calm and gentle. Unlike many denizens of the reptile kingdom, they don't like combat. They prefer to avoid it and would never force themselves on a person. However, that's not to say that they're entirely harmless. They are known to be mischievous creatures who love to pull tricks and pranks on unsuspecting travelers. They have the ability to produce large amounts of a soapy fluid that bubbles and foams a ridiculous amount and is really slippery. They often put patches of this bubble foam in people's paths to trick them into slipping and falling, or using it to form huge amounts of bubbles that may block people's view of important things, such as road signs. Use it to cover the ground in a large area, such as a person cannot see a pond or swamp through all the bubbles and falls in. Despite their actions, they are never truly cruel. Those who end up lost in the woods because of them end up being led to safety by the very pranks that torment them, and they rarely result in serious injury. While Mizu prefer to avoid combat, they are far from weaklings. They often use this bubble foam to shoot bubbles from their tails and blow bubbles at a foe. Normally this would sound harmless. However, getting hit by one of these is akin with getting hit by a wrecking ball, and is doubly dangerous as it will cover the foe in bubble foam, causing them to lose all their traction and seriously hamper their movement. If all else fails, they are capable of shooting a high-pressure stream of water that can easily cut through rock. They are very nimble and wily opponents who move about easily, using their own bubble foam to easily slide in and out. Basically, fighting them is a soapy, bubbly nightmare. All too often, those who have picked a fight with a Mizu end up soaking wet, frustrated, and humiliated. Mizus never assault anyone, although they will frequently dress in a provocative manner, using large tails to conceal their features to tease others. Despite this, they usually have an aura of purity about them, almost akin to a unicorn. They never permit a man aside from their husband to touch her. Though many may try, all they will do when trying to hold her is fall on their faces from slipping on the bubbles, and all they will ever do is succeed is touching or kissing a mass of foam. Which must be hilarious. However, when a Mizu finds a man she likes, she'll immediately start trying to woo him, often dancing around him while whispering sweet nothings in his ear, and getting kinda handsy. Should a man return his affections, she will be overjoyed and things will happen. After finding a man, they are basically blah blah blah. Even when not coupling, they are very affectionate towards their husbands, frequently hugging them, wrapping their tails around him, or rubbing herself up against him. Inverse to how she treats other men, of course. After marriage, they do settle down a little bit, though. They are extremely devoted to their husbands, often spending time taking care of him and making them happy instead of playing tricks on people. The bubbles, once used to make other people look like fools, will instead be used to keep the home spotless, and dancing around angry victims, they'll be dancing around their homes and husband as they keep themselves busy. Though only a fool would believe a married Mizu is safe to be around. They may stay busy for their husbands, but that doesn't mean they can't find time to pull a good prank on you. A man married to a Mizu will gain some pretty interesting benefits, namely that they'll find themselves able to move through her bubble foam as easy as she does. While most of them prefer to avoid fighting, they are more than willing to support their husbands if they are a fighter, often using her bubbles to send spells that will heal him and boost his strength, while simultaneously using her foam to trip up the opponent or create illusions that befuddle their foes, which is pretty cool. A rare mutation can occur in Mizus, causing what is called a Heavenly Eye Mizu to be born. They're easily identifiable due to their fur being pure white and their claws being noticeably longer and sharper. Due to complications, however, they are always left completely blind. This, however, does little to slow them down. Not only does their blindness cause them to develop heightened senses of hearing and smell, but they also gain an ability to sense any object that comes into contact with their bubbles. Because of this unique sensory ability, they tend to keep thousands of small and nearly unnoticeable bubbles around their person, so they can maintain full awareness of their surroundings. Despite their inability to see in a conventional sense, Heavenly Eye Mizus are notably stronger, faster, and tougher than a normal Mizu. In addition to this, Heavenly Eye Mizus can create foxfire, much akin to the Inari and Yoko of Zipangu. Like Inari and Yoko, Heavenly Eye Mizu can utilize this foxfire to perform various spells. Most notably being their illusions, which are far more potent than that of a normal Mizus. Heavenly Eye Mizus are also known to use their foxfire in a more direct manner, namely burning people, and are in fact known to merge their bubbles with their foxfire to create bubbles that explode. Mizus will also produce a red powder, which has the effect of bolstering the defensive prowess of those exposed. In battle, Mizus will frequently use this powder on themselves, turning their fur a reddish-pink color, and when angered, their eyes will glow a distinct blue color, with one eye generating a stream of pale blue foxfire out of it, hence their name. It is rumored that Heavenly Eye Mizu are not blind, but instead see the spirit world instead of the physical, and that they can look into a person's soul and see the true contents of their character. This is unconfirmed and more than likely a myth. However, they do tend to be phenomenal judges of character. Much like the Nari and Yoko and Zipangu, Heavenly Eye Mizu have the ability to create kitsunebi. These kitsunebi, or mizubi as they are commonly referred to, are unique to normal kitsunebi in that they can often form flower petal-like fins, denoting their origins, and they tend to have more power, more prideful and possessive personalities akin to a dragon. In terms of behavior, Heavenly Eye Mizus tend to be more calm and cautious than normal Mizus, likely due to their blindness. They appear to need more sleep and have a tendency to take naps throughout the day. Despite their difference in behavior, they are much like their normal siblings. Heavenly Eye Mizus are also incurable pranksters. In fact, their skills tend to be even greater in not only causing mischief, but also in avoiding retaliation, and they have a tendency to cause an opponent's pranks to backfire, likely due to being blind and growing up in a family of pranksters. Most frightening is that they can often perform their mischief without leaving any evidence to link themselves to the act, often using their blindness as a means of proving their innocence. Let's just... Oh my god. Mouse, stop. Okay, so yeah, those are the Monster Girls for today's discussion. Next time, we're sorry for wrapping this up a bit early, but yeah, sorry guys for releasing this up so early. I'm going to have to call it here for today, folks. Thank you for joining me. There's a link to my Discord channel, to my Discord server in the description to this video, so you guys can join the discussions going on there. Yeah. Like if you've enjoyed this, subscribe for more. We will be working on next week we're going to be talking about the just a moment here. Oh wait, that was the very wrong button to click. Let's see, it's here somewheres. Scroll up. Notable wildlife. Next time, we're going to be talking about Reptile Kingdom wildlife and what we can find therein. If we can, we might have Mizu or a Cheshire. Who'd win the prank war? Ooh, I don't know. We would have to check on that. Oh, I don't know who would win, to be honest. It depends on what type of Mizu it is. Like, if it's a Heavenly Eye Mizu, it's definitely gonna win. If it's a regular Mizu, they might come to a draw. Or team up on the rest of us. Heaven help our souls. So, I'm going to call it here today. Thank you very much for joining me. Feel free to, if you have a Discord, feel free to pop in and say hi. Maybe start talking with some of the other people who are here. Basically, have a nice day, folks. Farewell.